isn't all that important, right? What is important is the effect it has,
Okay.
right? I mean, the fact that somebody believes that God can do X, Y, Z isn't as important as what does that make him behave like.
Okay.
So, ancient religious wisdom. So, Jonathan Haidt in the book The Happiness Hypothesis says that it is best to think of it as psychologically useful narratives rather than the literal truth, right? Because believing these lies will make you more generous, will make you give more charity, will make you more of a volunteer for good causes. It will reduce substance abuse. It will give you better mental health. It will make you live longer. There is data supporting all of these claims.
Okay.
And you have to understand why these things are true.
I do want to, because one of these is something that I pointed out, that the mental health bit is not actually true in my opinion, because it gives you fear, stress, and guilt. But you say that it improves better health. So I do want to know why.
Yeah. So, we notice the fact that it gives you fear, stress, and guilt. Right? We don't notice the overall stuff, the overall thing, right? Because religion gives you a much stronger community, much stronger social ties. And these are due to forced rituals. We did an entire episode on rituals and how rituals will cause bonding. Okay? Bonding happens without you realizing it. You go to the rituals, you complain about it, this is like the guilt and all that. You don't realize that even while you're complaining, it is doing good things for you.
Yeah, because everybody is complaining about those rituals, so there is actually shared complaining happening in a way.
Absolutely. So this whole community thing that is going on, right? This is what gives rise to lower substance abuse and better mental health and you living longer and so on, right? One of the problems you have with religion is that rituals are arbitrary,
Yeah.
and conflicting.
Yes.
But in our episode on rituals, we pointed out why the arbitrary and conflicting is actually what gives them power and what increases them.
Remind me again quickly.
Basically, is that the ritual which seems conflicting to you or arbitrary to you seems like that to your system 2 brain, which wants logic and science and all that, right? Your system 1 brain, which is the real thing in control, doesn't really care. If it finds that like it's a good thing, it's a good thing, right? So your system 1 actually loves these rituals, and that's what is giving you all the positive benefits, while your system 2 is sitting there complaining.
Okay. Okay, I do agree with that, and I do concede that point. In fact, this little description and explanation that you made solved a few of our points, but I cannot continue this discussion without making you stop and talk about all of the immense violence, hatred, polarization caused by religion throughout history, and it's not just recent. Because there is identity based, okay, there is us versus them.
Yeah. So yes, I agree that religion has always been misused by the powerful, and it is a tool that the powerful use to manipulate and control the masses, right? Religion is the operator of the masses, as Karl Marx said.
Yes.
But do you think if you remove religion, this problem will go away? No, the powerful will just use another tool out of their whole arsenal of us versus them, right? I mean, it's not just religion, they do it on the basis of nationality, they do it on the basis of ethnicity, right? I mean, there are many, many examples of large-scale, immense violence and all that. It has nothing to do with religion. USSR, Stalin's USSR, Khmer Rouge, Cambodia, World War I, World War II, none of those were about religion, right? French Revolution, Spanish Civil War, racial problems in US and China. So, root cause is that politicians need to grab onto something which they can use as a tool against the people, and it just so happens that religion is a tool. And you are not going to get rid of the problem by getting rid of the tool, right?
Yeah, but why even give that tool? I mean, why give politicians a convenient handle? Just remove it. One less handle.
You need to balance it with the benefits. Okay? The biggest problem facing humans today is coordination failures. There's an entire episode of this in preparation for this episode. Okay? So you know that coordination failure, that humans can't agree on what to work on. If they agree what to work on, they can't agree how, right? religion is the best technology to overcome coordination failures, right? The biggest advances in humanity could not have happened without religion. Okay, you see religion and you see the big wars and the crusades and things like that. What you don't see is that earlier there used to be tribal conflicts all over the place continuously. Okay, uh, there were children dying. Half the children used to die before their first few birthdays, right? The remaining die in their 50s because of diseases, right? Most modern conveniences were not there, most medical technology was not there. Everything of this happened because of mass cooperation, which exists only because of nation states, and that was not possible without religion to bind them, right? Yuval Noah Harari in *Sapiens* has made a good case for this, and Ara Lorenzayan in *Big Gods: How Religion Transformed Cooperation and Conflict* uh, has basically said that big gods are needed for big wars.
That, that's a very interesting statement, actually. Big gods are indeed needed for big groups. They kind of become like a shelling point around which people congregate.
Absolutely. So religion gives you shelling points for cooperation. It gives you sacredness. Okay, which is what prevents continuous argument, right? Because logical, rational people will always argue with each other. They'll always think, okay, I have a slightly better idea, and so on. And even if you do have a better idea, in a group, there will just take too much analysis paralysis. You will never get anything done, which is why we need sacredness. That okay, this we have made this decision, and you cannot question it. Right?
Quick point, when he says sacredness, he's not talking about sacredness in terms of religiousness or God or divine. Sacredness, he's talking about as a philosophical construct. We've done
Are you
an entire
alright?
episode of this.
Where is your mother?
Go check it out. Because that will explain a lot of what he is talking about.
What? Nobody has sent me to harm
Religious
you.
rituals or this sacredness, and when it becomes very rigid, it's a bad thing.
So I
In
don't
the
have
initial
to be
phases, when it was
lonely
not too rigid, but it was the
No
best
need to
thing
be
that we
scared.
had.
Yeah,
I
but
can
when
make
it
sure
is
that Odin
rigid,
won't
it
hurt
is a
you
bad
again.
thing. You said it
So then
yourself.
come
Like for example,
here.
when
With
old
Odin
people
not dead, so
insist
many
on
Odin have
adhering
turned to violence.
strictly to certain
I will stop
practices
them.
that make no sense in the modern world. Vastu Shastra, for example.
Yeah. Okay. So, yes and no. For a moment, let's ignore the politicians and their manipulation and religious clashes. Right? Big picture. Okay, we already talked about that. Let's talk about these kinds of clashes in day-to-day life, older generation versus newer generation. Right? Throughout history, younger people have rebelled against the strictures of older people. Right?
Yes.
But as we argued in the episode on base layers, this friction is necessary. Okay? The core point is that if young people were allowed to do what they want, right, we would have a lot of change. But it's not necessary that all change is good, right? Young people are driven by fashion. Young people are driven by hormones. Young people under 25 don't have their frontal cortex fully developed, right? So young people make mistakes which they realize in their 40s and 50s that they were wrong. Okay?
Yeah.
On the other hand, of course, I do agree that old people can sometimes be idiotic and stick to old things, which is why this tussle between young and old is good. Young people and their fresh ideas keep things flexible, prevent things from becoming too rigid. But old people with trying to stick to traditions give the stability which is necessary for long term. Okay?
And the entire episode that we did on embracing change, on the concept of base layers, goes into this in a lot more detail, which I think you should definitely check out after this episode. So I do agree, and I do see where you're coming from in the context of the importance of God for an atheist. It's not so much the concept of God, but it's what God brings with it to a community, to humanity, to
Yeah.
and it probably makes sense that because of God, humanity is known as a social animal, social species.
Yeah.
It's the concept of God that allowed us to congregate around each other with that shared belief, and therefore health does become social.
See, one of the arguments that can be made is that now that we understand all of this, why can't we get the same things? Right? Why can't we get motion? Why can't we get all the coordination mechanisms through non-religious?
Yeah, I was just thinking of that. Could there be a secular, a non-God shelling point around which rationalists can sort of congregate around which atheists can congregate around and say, all right, you believe in God, I believe in this. More often than not, it is the scientific method.
Yeah.
But I don't know if the scientific method can be as good a shelling point as God.
Yeah. See, some of it works a little bit. I mean, non-religious people also have their shelling points and their rituals, beliefs which are questioned. Right? If you are going to say that the method of science is the only method, I think that is a bit of a sacred belief. Freedom of speech is another bit of a sacred principle. But there is one thing that separates religious beliefs from the secular ones. Right? That is, in case of the religious belief, there is this bunch of things which make it really solid, right? So there is an omniscient God who sees everything. So you can't, right, in the privacy of your home, break the rules, which in case of secular, there is a higher chance, right? So that God is also, omnipotent. He can actually take action against you because again in secular things, you know that the community frowns on this behavior, but every once in a while you say, so big deal, big cow touching. Other thing is that this God is extremely strict. This God is like, even little things he does not forgive. Right? Whereas again in the secular things there is like all kinds of things about we should have the punishment should be proportional to the sin and so on. Right?
Yeah.
There's like sin is sin, we are going to hell.
There's a very clear, bright line there.
Right. So in fact this whole thing you have, what you are trying to do is that use in secular areas, right? Let us get all the advantages of religion without the irrationality.
Yeah, because I was just thinking that all of these beliefs are irrational. There can't be someone who's omnipotent. There can't be someone who's omniscient. Speaking purely from a rational perspective, there can't be someone who's transcendent. There can't be someone who
You
has
must be the one making
ultimate
NXT.
authority. That just does
You
not
could
fit
say
into the
that,
rational
yes.
perspective.
Good. Come, Lord Kuroda Kanbei awaits.
Irrationality is a feature.
I was
not a
expecting
bug.
something more discreet.
It works
My
so
lord
well
will soon
because
join
of
Lord
the-
Hideyoshi on the front lines.
Because of all of
But
that,
before he goes,
it is just
he must secure Harima's bonus.
Yeah, I
To
mean-
do so, he has welcomed
In a
Lord
very weird
Ukita
way, it
Naoi,
makes sense. Because
Daimyo
the moment
Ise,
you
to attend a
surrender
Rengakai
to
today.
that
What is it with
irrationality,
warlords and
at the
their
moment
horns?
others
An
like to
affirmation
surrender
of
to
the
that
ties that bind our
irrationality.
existing
You
alliance.
form a shared
To be
bond
clear.
of that surrender.
Okay.
And that
I must inquire.
very, very paradoxically, very ironically, becomes a strong bond.
Yeah. So, I'm not saying that suddenly all of us have now have to become religious and just listen to all the religious people all the time, right?
Ah, the young Lord Ukita Hideye. I trust your meeting with Lord Kanbei went well.
I think so.
What you have is a tendency
Yes.
to reject
Oh,
everything
Who
associated
is that with you?
And I think that is a mistake. See that there is benefits.
You
Yeah,
are
I mean,
unlike
at the end
many
of
of
the
the
day, I guess the
guests we have
concept
here.
boils down to live
What
and
are you
let
doing
live.
in Himeshi?
If someone has religious beliefs, belief in the divine, belief in a God,
I lost
or
a bet with
multiple
Lord
gods,
Kanbei.
let them
Now
be.
I'm the
As
new
long
master.
as they do not pose harm to you.
Why would a
That will always
Rengashi
be
carry such
my sort of
armaments?
filter.
To meet out
If
punishment for
your set
bad
of
verses?
beliefs harming
You know a
me
lot about
and my
this
set of
place for a
beliefs.
young
In which case
man,
we have a
my
problem. Until
As a
then,
hostage in the care of Lord
have your
Hideyoshi
time with
and
your
Lord
body.
Kanbei, I have seen
Take the
many
good
faces
without
come and
taking
go.
the
I serve my father
Is that
to
we
keep the
aware
alliance
that
between the
leaders
Ikita clans
misuse
and Lord Hideyoshi strong.
just
That's
like
a
the
big responsibility for
So
someone your
like
age.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
both
I
of these,
suppose.
You need to
Goodbye
understand
for
the
now.
first principles, right? Understanding of rituals, shelling points, sacredness, tradition versus change, and the overarching issue. That coordination failures are the biggest problems we as humans need to solve. Which is why we have done the last 5 episodes more on these 5 points.
Lord Kame, your other guest has arrived.
And we line that playlist up for you immediately after this. Go check it out. Spend some time, especially if you're watching this on a Sunday, spend some
My
time
friend,
watching all of those episodes.
welcome.
And let
You
us
must
know
be
what
the
your
one
thought of
lady
those
Nene
episodes
referred
like
to.
here in the comments.
Yes,
Or
Kezalai.
in our WhatsApp community, QR code is
I am now
in the description.
I didn't
Go
expect
check it out,
Yaskir to be granted
I'm
a social
excited
call
to
from
hear
Lord
the thoughts
Kurura
of this
Kande.
one, because
I
this
hear
has
you
been
are in
always
charge
a
while
big
Lord
kind of
Hideyoshi is away.
thinking of presenting,
Some
but
say
we needed
even
to
while he is
lay the
around.
foundation first. So
People exaggerate, and greatly at
waiting to
that.
hear from you.
But
Shrikant, Navi.
We are not here to talk about me. There is an impending attack on Lord Hideyoshi's allies, orchestrated by a man who operates in the shadows.
What do you think this man in the shadows wants?
To destabilize our efforts against Mitsuhide, to stop me from marshalling allies and march towards Lord Hideyoshi. I would rather not speculate. I wish to expose this man and his forces in Harima, which is where you come in.
End-to-end encryption is the reason iMessage, WhatsApp, and Signal can promise that nobody, not even the company running your chat app, can
I'm
read
not
your
here on
messages.
behalf
But
of
in
Hideyoshi
2026,
or
that
his
promise
wife,
has a couple
nor you,
serious
for that
gaps,
matter.
and the biggest one might
Yes,
already be
yes.
on your
Forgive me.
computer. So how
A
does it
curtness
actually
that comes
work?
with 120
And where
nights
does it
spent
fall
on the
apart?
battlefield.
End-to-end encryption goes all the way back to
Of
the early
course.
90s with pretty
We
good
do have a
privacy,
common enemy.
but didn't become mainstream until
Today's
2011.
Rengakai
Apple baked it
serves
into
as a
iOS.
reminder of our
We're
alliance with Lord
inside
Ukta
Apple's
Naoya,
walled garden. So in
an ally
2013,
we
two
rely on
researchers,
to
Trevor
secure
Ryan
Haima's
and Foxy
borders.
Marlin Spike, started
Her
building
boy's
the
father.
open source Signal protocol
You've met
that
them.
any app could
Good.
use. Who's a success?
Hideye was part of the
2016,
terms of our
WhatsApp
alliance.
flipped it on for over a
He
billion
is young,
users, making one of the
but
biggest
a bright,
privacy upgrades
precocious
in internet
boy.
history.
A
Here's
perfect
David
token
Weiss
for the
with
continued
BlackBerry's
goodwill
VP
of the
Security
Ukta
Communications to
clan.
give us a baseline for how
Above all,
chats function.
Young Hideye understands his role. He has quickly learned to tamp down his instincts for sentimentality.
In that conversation would have a security key in their phone, a private key. Basically, that's the key that they use to lock their messaging. But they also have given their friends.
Your token is a hostage not here by choice. Of course, he is sentimental.
So that message is fully encrypted
In our
against
work,
their friends.
sentimentality is a
At that
liability.
point, it's decrypted.
For
In plain
Daimyo,
English, your phone
and warrior
slams the
alike.
message into a digital safe and
we judge ourselves on
the
how
only
we
other
fulfill
key
our
sits on your friend's
obligations.
account. So as a
If you
top
did not
server
believe
server,
this,
it's just garbled nonsense.
then we
Useless
would not
to
be
anyone
talking
without
now.
that key. And the strongest setups go one step further, generating a brand new key.
Lord
for every
Kande,
single message.
I must
That's
interrupt.
exactly what Signal's
Oh, we
double
will be
ratchet
starting
algorithm
soon.
does, which is
My
why
father
it
has
sets the
arrived.
bar. It's open source
Of
and
course.
always on. iMessage
Thank
and
you,
WhatsApp
my
encrypt by
lord.
default too, while Telegram only locks your messages down if you flip the setting on yourself. And BlackBerry, it's so locked down that governments, NATO, and intelligence agencies use it. That's right. Someone is using
Many
both
of Lord
for
Hideyoshi's
your
allies will be gathered in
regardless
one
of what
place.
platform you're using.
Do you
Encryption
understand?
only takes you so far.
You expect
There are
our
some
target to
clever
attack
vulnerabilities
today?
where attackers can still learn
Understand
a lot
what we
about.
will
Let's learn
face
about
up ahead.
those and how you can protect yourself
Afterwards,
after this message from our
I
sponsor.
hope you will join us at the
Stay
Rengakai.
ahead of online threats.
Join you
Their
in the
new
one place
Scam
I can't
Radar
blend in?
feature for iOS and
If you
Android.
insist.
According to the Global State of Scams
I
report,
would accompany
losses
you
due to
myself,
scams reached an
but
astounding
my ex simply
$1.03
refuses to
trillion
do what I
in
ask.
2025.
Lord
Thanks for that,
Hideye
generative
will
AI.
show you
But
the
with
way.
Scam Radar, you can stay informed on ongoing scam outbreaks, including ones localized to your area. They're like tornadoes. Preventing a scam is a lot nicer than falling for one and figuring out everything after. That's a tech tip for free. Discover Instagram's powerful scam
What makes you say that,
free for
young man?
90 days.
It's not every day I escort a shinobi to a Rengakai filled with daimyos and officials.
You're an accommodating host, my lord. What should I know about the Renga?
A Rengakai can be many things. A demonstration of insight, or a means to reflect on the nature of things. Given my father's presence, it is likely a declaration of intent,
Easier to capture.
an extension of the alliance between our clans. Lord Yukinaga, on the way to the Rengakai?
And often just the fact what our
I
patterns
don't
are,
believe we
indicating
met.
how often
I am
we
Lord
communicate.
Kenichi Yukinaga.
Communication
I'm Naoe.
is
What
enough
brings
for
you to
people
Hanma,
attract a lot of
Lord
frustration
Yukinaga?
about
I am
the
assisting Lord
conversation.
Naoya
You and I
in
chat,
the
and
reconstruction
all
of
that.
the temples and shrines that were destroyed in previous years.
I thought Lord Naoya was a military ally.
And so people can
Lord Naoya is concerned with the well-being of the people, especially now that it is Lord Hidea's home. These shrines and temples are a reminder to the young Lord Hidea that his father is always present, even when he is not.
And good old-fashioned fish.
What surprises people is how easy it is, not for someone to crack the encryption, but for someone to either pretend they're someone you
Here you are.
they aren't, or for them to associate their account with your
An autumn's
and
breeze
you're not there.
fades.
So there's actually been a lot of FBI reports in the last couple of months, as well as reports out of Europe. and
Gentle
agencies
rains
of
turn crystal.
concentrated programs by Russian intelligence, where
Solid,
they actually link
yet brittle.
a PC account to a Signal account,
Changing
or
of
to a
seasons.
WhatsApp account.
Another
And then
battle,
every time they watch
same
the
war.
conversation, so they actually didn't need to break the cryptography. They still read everything you say because they tricked you through a social engineering technique
Apologies, my lord.
into
How might I refer to you?
This
On top of
battle
all
you
that,
speak
even
of,
things built into
what
your
do you
computer,
make
like
of it?
the relatively new Windows recall feature, can break through some end-to-end encrypted chats simply by taking screenshots of your messages. You need to log into
More
your computer to
families
see your
crushed
recall
and
is saved.
innocents killed.
This all goes to
It's no different from the battles that have come before or
but can
after.
slip through some gaps if you're not aware.
I see.
So should you use encrypted
So,
chat? Absolutely.
you know
Just turn on
about
encrypted backups.
Lord
So your
Noma's
metadata is
passing.
visible and be careful.
You
where
sit
share your
in the
data,
company
because
of
the strongest
Daniel.
padlock doesn't help if someone's
yet,
reading over your shoulder.
you
Or if you
are
accidentally
no
add a
match.
journalist into your
Not a
private
monk,
Signal group
nor a
chat,
poet.
Pete pegs that.
I would
then it
ask
almost
why
makes you feel
you've come
more
here,
privacy conscious. Take
but I
another
think
video on
I
how
already know
VPNs
the answer.
actually work. What
Which
they protect,
is,
what they
For
don't.
similar
How they can-
reasons
you
that
can
I am
help more
here,
than just your
I presume. Who do you serve?
I serve no master.
A conundrum. Despite all we do, all our capacity for greatness, we are inevitably bound to someone in our power. This Rengakai. The terms of engagement are set by Lord Ganbei's Hokku on the imagery of seasons.
The third poet stanza should reverse the Hokku, right?
The third poet must not speak of seasons, even if his heart tells him it is the correct choice.
It looks like you've prepared your lines already, my lord.
A stanza my son wrote for me. We do not see each other often.
Arengakai seems to be a good place to put his work to good use.
I will read it once my business in Harima is settled. My visit here has informed what I will speak about.
What might that be?
Regret.
Ukita Naoie.
The Hagi flower. Yearning for soil it knows. Petals fall silent.
The Hagi flower.
Are you gonna cook for your camera guy also? Fuck him! Fuck him? Yeah, fuck him. I'm worried that's how you run your company. Yeah, you feel me? Are you gonna cook for your... You know how to talk real English. What do you mean by real English? Like, you know how to talk like good English, you know how to talk good. By good English, you just mean sound like white people. I'm going to don't like that also.
I'm going to prefer this English because I sound Asian. You know, Asian people have to sound Asian. Black people should sound black. Everybody should have their own personality.
How me? I sound.
You Asian, but you sound black. In like Rush Hour combined. You know, like two characters in Rush Hour together.
Wait, you said I'm half Asian? You said my accent is like half black?
Little bit black. Yeah.
Yeah,
But, okay, maybe you grew up in America, you will see a lot of black culture. But
nah, you know all my friends, they're all black.
Oh.
Black and shit.
that why.
You know the talk.
Return button, as well as our 4 diamond face buttons, as well as our stuck and suck buttons. Let's start and select if you don't know. These are very clicky actually.
Don't let them
These guys
escape.
could use a little more drop, but it is
It
very
seems Lord Convey's hunch
clicky
was
and
right.
responsive in a way that I think is pretty decent modern interpretation. And that's especially important that the system at least have these because there's no analog input that needed to this device on the side. That we can do all kinds of things with. Here we have our wrist straps, and then we have our cartridge strap. The middle one at least because this is in the back we have 4 torques that allow us to open the device, making it fairly accessible speaker because I want to make sure if I'm on the bus, everyone else can hear what I'm playing and not me. On the top, we have 4 shoulder buttons. They are flush
Not
with
stop
each other,
anything from escaping.
and quite small,
It's
so we
sleeping?
will definitely
What did they
result
come
in
for
accent
then?
presses. But we also have our
Lord
Type-C
Kanbei,
port,
a handful of jars
for
are
charging, and also
Under
plugging in
Kanbei,
your accessories
nowhere to
because
be found.
there is no other way to
His
plug in
body was not
accessories
found
than
among the dead.
No, by
an
law.
oversight, but there's
All
also
casualties have been accounted for.
and such things.
Except
And
for
you
one.
can kind of see that the screen doesn't sit flat with the device. It's not a big deal. The rotation mechanism, that seems like a reasonable compromise when it's closed.
They
It's
have
quite
taken
flat.
my son.
But that is just something that no,
My
this has
son.
not been flipped. So
Lord
you want
Naui,
to take that into
we
account.
must
This is going
trust
to be
that
the most
whoever
robust
took
we
Hidei
have
will not harm
rip
him.
this off. In
There
fact,
is no
this
value in
the-
doing so. I will order a
On the
barricade
side,
of
we have
all
our
roads
volume
in and out
rocker.
of Himeji.
Volume
We will find him.
That's fine. As well as a
I
micro
want
SD
all men
slot
on
to
alert.
support
My
the
own
32
security
gigabyte
detail
internal
within
storage
Himeji.
built into the device. In my opinion, 32
We
gigabytes
hope my son
is
is found
sufficient
soon.
for this kind of device,
For his
especially
sake.
keeps the prices
And
down.
for the sake of this
Really,
peace,
that's
Lord
just
Hashima
the
Hideyoshi
more
so
6th gen
desired.
stuff you want to do, and this really isn't designed to do 6th gen gaming. It can do some GameCube, pretty good on Dreamcast,
Could it
but
be all
no
men in the
history on
shadows?
Xbox.
Those attackers.
This is
they're
meant
roaming.
for
You smell it too, right?
PS1 era and before,
Incense.
and that's right.
An
There's like
overpowering
100 million
smell.
games of the
Unlike
era,
any
and
instance I've ever come across.
and there's actually one more
In a few days'
instance that
time,
I
Lord
have to talk
Naui and
about.
I will draw
That is
up the
the
next
touch
terms of our
This
agreement.
is a
A
touch
meeting
screen
in
device, which
Himeji
makes sense
Castle.
because
Not
not only is
without
it meant for
Hideo.
retro gaming, but it is a
We'll set out on a path to find him.
Android-forward
I
device,
suspect
which
that
is an
same
interesting
path will lead
proposition
us
on
to the
something
man
like this, and it
responsible.
offers a lot of flexibility,
Kanbei,
but it also comes with
we've
some
arranged for
trade-offs.
transport
But I
back
don't
to your
think there's any
home,
better
Himeji.
way to get to those
You will be
trade-offs
safe
than
then.
just using it.
Yes,
Let's just
sir.
freaking go.
No,
Click the bottom button to select
Exercise caution and discretion. The Alliance cannot be threatened at this time.
English.
Hidei is innocent.
English.
Just a
English.
warning. His
I'm getting my
safety
first
comes
impressions
first.
of the rumble motor on this thing with the
You
keyboard.
have our
Oh
word,
boy,
Lord Kanbei.
it sounds like 2 plastic pieces jingling in my pocket. While it's setting up, why don't I actually see what else is in the box? Forget that this is an unboxing channel sometimes. I get too excited about the products. We have a little
This
box.
time you'll use the boy
and that
as a pawn
includes
in their political
a
game.
strap. We have
Infringing
one
human
included
lives.
screen protector, which I actually think would be
Not if we
almost
can
a
help it.
necessary
It is a good
addition
thing we have
considering the
reached.
form factor.
The
We have our
Council Commander
alternate
of
shoulder
Obey
buttons.
Navy.
We can replace the
It is also
inside
that
ones so that they
strange
pop
scent.
out a little bit more and are easier to press without accident. However, it
You're
might
right.
be one of the jankiest
Let's do it.
installation methods
Those
I've ever
screws
seen
are
with
enough
that
to start our
adhesive
hunt.
strip that you have
We
to
will
put
find the
buttons
young
on.
lord.
Not a huge fan of that. We also have our 128 gig micro SD Depending on the version you buy, you may or may not have this. We have our 1 meter Type-C cable. It's a very cheap one, but that's fine. And then we have our quick start guide, which will help us, especially in operating Android. I've had a little bit of trouble with Android handhelds sometimes. The button combos can be a little bit. We're gonna go cook and show style. We actually have another device which allows us to talk about the different materials you can pick. Brad's been using this one for a couple of days. This is the black Ambernick Flip. The big difference isn't just color, it's actually the build material. So the top on both is going to be aluminum, but on the black one, it's going to be plastic, which may be better for you in terms of feel. As I would say off initial response, and just picking that one up after that shit in the box all the time, that feels way better. Yeah, plastic for the body on this, so it feels more reminiscent of a Game Boy. It's a little bit lighter, 170 grams for the plastic, 205 for the aluminum. The other benefit of the aluminum is that the whole body will act as aluminum. I watched a video where someone had a thermal camera pointed at both of these after some use, and the plastic one's heat was centered kind of around the middle, whereas the metal one had a better heat dispersion. So I imagine that over long times, that'll do a little bit better for thermals. That being said, that might actually make it more uncomfortable. This metal one definitely feels more premium, but I actually think I would probably pick the plastic, especially because you can save time. On our pre-configured Brad device, we haven't done any major changes out of the box, because we want to showcase the default experience. I know some of you don't like that, some of you want us to show the optimized tinkered experience, and I think that that's a valid thing. This is an unboxing channel, and part of what we do is show you what you can expect out of the box. And so, it is navigable, and in terms of power, compared to the investment at your pocket, it's much lower, hence the affordable price, but it's still a respectable Unisoc Tiger T6, which is a decent core processor with 2 performance cores and 6 more efficiency cores. That's the G52 G3, which is probably a little bit less than I would dream of. But in these market conditions, you know, it's fun thinking when you're out with your friends and someone says, "In this economy, I take a drink."
I beg forgiveness.
The night ends quickly. Yeah, I'm going to record that. The other thing to talk about that we can't see is the 2,000 milliamp hour battery. Now that should be good for about 5-ish hours in mixed use cases, but I actually would prefer bigger or thicker. It may be another 50%, another 100%, because ultimately this is carry with me all the time and not think about charging. That makes sense. Sexy charging. Minor. What you're talking about is helping me say to response right now. Don't be caught slowing down your convoy on your road trip this summer. Get the Wolfbox jumpstarter and air compressor that will make sure your vehicle keeps on rolling. The charger can jumpstart any 12 volts up to 40 times on a single charge. The air compressor has a 160 psi motor, so we can inflate a pickup truck's tires in just a few minutes. Wolfbox Prime 8 Megahertz, June 23rd to 26th. Get ready for up to 50% off site-wide and get 20% off of discount.
Lions are green, Floatplane is blue. That's why we've got exclusive content and early access to our line game. Just as the point is, we've got a sale that is jam-packed with bundles, and for today only, you can get our Precision Screwdriver Kit Pro in our Floatplane exclusive colors for $20 off. Sign up for Floatplane and start saving today using our links in the video description.
Before we get into the game, I kind of want to navigate the Android experience and see how that feels. We actually have
This is what
a
I'm
bit
trying to
of
find out.
Chrome with Opera because
Do you
we're
know
having
when
trouble
he
with
is?
Chrome out of the
He has
box.
likely
I
started
mean, I can
gambling
comment on this
again.
keyboard experience.
Based on how many
It's
people
fine.
he
Like,
owes
it's
money
better
to.
than using a D-pad to
Again.
go around the keyboard.
But then-
But it's still kind of
I don't
small, and it's
think
weird that it
so.
goes to the middle of the screen.
What is the watch commander doing with a
imagine
shrine
that there will
portion?
be a fair
I don't
few
think I've ever seen
things
him
that are
play.
optimized
Any
for
idea where I can
smartphone
find
displays
I
on
bet
Android
he's
that
at that
don't
gambling den
quite
in
feel
town.
right or look right
If you
on this
see him,
square display.
tell him
That
his
being
dear
said,
wife can't wait
720p by
to
720p
break his
is really
tailbone with her
versatile.
foot.
Not only is 720 a 1x1 display, but most retro games are 4x3. So with scaling, you can get a pretty darn good experience on the screen. I'm very excited to try our browser. okay. The browsing of like a regular website seems to work pretty good. When the bar comes down, the actual usable space is very small. I think we all know you should be buying this device if you're primarily wanting to connect to the internet and use the wide web. However, the fact that you can connect and browse the internet means that you can find all the ROMs you can possibly ever want directly on this device. You don't have to go to the computer and drag them over into the SD card and put it back in. So that's actually a great experience. The other thing that's great about it being an Android device is that you can connect to the Play Store and download apps directly. And that would include getting better emulators. Sometimes you can find paywalls, but you can get much better sound and emulation than you get out of regular version. And so the flexibility of Android is great. The downside is being able to spend so that's your thing, great. The out-of-the-box experience is a little less. But I'm not proper example. There's no presence to the sound. It just sounds like it's coming out of its inside. I would say that these speakers are proper media consumption. I think we built an Anbernic game launcher this side, and that is other game launchers of your choice. We actually cut back some of the elements that are on there, wide gamut from this original Nintendo all the way to stuff like the PSP, although we're just using we're gonna play the first thing minutes. Fake CRT around the edge. The skin, although I want to next, switch the dash to the bumper. Press these buttons on this. Can you this looks very which is not always the best, but this looks okay, so this is retrovert. That's fine. Retrovert is a good starting place. It gets better. And the options we have are typical RetroArch options. So I break it where he talks about the 8x9 overscan. You can get a little bit more out of this display, but I think the default options are not bad. Especially the 720p is a 3x integer of 240p, and so for a lot of games of this era, you gonna be looking good, baby. So sit here and play. I can say immediately the face buttons are good enough that I stopped worrying about them. The D-pad does its job. I think it's not going to be an all-star in fighting games. In terms of mental latency, this feels very responsive and very good. One thing I'll say is that the center back is feeling a little bit warm. I mean, that's where my fingers rest, but I also don't think we're pushing it that hard, so maybe there's just like residual finger heat. So far, it's totally fine. I don't think I've commented on the ergonomics of this thing. These kinds of like micro devices are never super comfortable to play. It's always a little bit like a weird claw grip. Like,
who sent you here?
This doesn't look like the
I just want to ask you a few questions.
But
Nothing more.
if you're someone that
Questions?
has really like tight fingers or
Fine,
something,
fine.
it's
Let's
always
go
a
outside
consideration
and talk about
with
it.
small devices. In terms of sound, for 16-bit games, it's not perfect, but I think this is sufficient for this kind of audio quality. It's giving me the overall impression of it. The thing I'm curious about is
Just this way. Don't worry, I'm not sent to you. Which is why you should leave me alone.
The audio latency
Come back.
is some of the worst I've ever experienced. So I'm hitting the button. That's nearly a full second. Absolutely unusable. That is such an oversight. Bluetooth audio is always going to have more lag than something that's really optimized for that kind of thing. But that means that you have to either use a dongle or a USB-C headphone.
I can't come anymore.
I know that they're marketing this to play music and stuff, but that's not why I'm buying this. I'm not buying this to be my MP3 player. I'm playing this to play games. And the fact that Bluetooth audio, yeah, I can connect Bluetooth devices. But I can play Bluetooth audio for games. That sucks. That sucks. Oh, that is PS1, one of my favorite PS1 platformers. This feels and
I
plays
only
really
have
well.
questions.
I'm guessing that it's just like
Starting
a
with,
3 times
why did
scale
you disappear after the
resolution
Rengakai?
because the
After
pixel was
you
too
showed up,
wonky, so
everything went to
it's
shit.
very
Oh,
cool.
that
Just on the
killing.
bottom and top.
I had to run.
CRT looking
But I'm
good.
innocent.
This game's
You
another
hear me?
reminder, if you're someone that wants
Innocent.
to play with an analog stick, that's not an option, just the D-pad. I'm a D-pad
Toku
gamer on
Bay,
this, but it
listen
doesn't
to
bother
me.
me. However,
I visited your house and found your wife accosted by thugs.
Oh no! Oh shit! No! Is she okay? Is my wife okay?
It doesn't have
She
any
is
underscaling. Right.
She is
You
wonderful.
can set your underscale and overscale will
This
basically
is all
it'll
my
look
fault.
to an
She
integer
will
scale,
never
whether
forgive
above or
me.
below.
Tell me what you know about the attack at the
We can then
Rengakai.
change our filters if we want.
Men
I like
from
this
Eastern
look
offered money to
pretty
stay
good,
at Himeji
but it's nice to
Castle.
know that there's
Who
built-in ones, but
ordered
you can
this
also
attack?
add a bunch.
Some
I've put the
samurai from
large one on
Chugoku.
now.
On behalf of his master, I followed them and
It's interesting that it didn't
infiltrated the
disable
castle.
the
Once
CRT.
they received
Right?
a
I don't like this
call,
video filter as
all
much,
hell
but I can
broke
say
loose.
that the input latency and the field.
I didn't think they would
solid.
kidnap the son of a
Let's
daimyo.
push this thing a little bit harder to something a little more modern. Wind Waker on the GameCube. If this can pull off this,
Keep
that
it,
would be
burn it, I don't
quite a
care.
value add.
It's a bad
Games
omen.
games on this little
Just
device
like me.
for the price it comes in.
Especially to my wife.
Holy.
You still have a chance to make this right. Tell me what position men from Decent have taken.
However, I think the
could slow
game could be a
down.
little bit of a stretch.
Cover
I know
my
that there is
ass
some
in case
games
things
that
go
are
bad.
okay, especially
This is good
specific,
information.
but I'm curious to see if I
But
can
I will need someone who can take me to the samurai and his men.
30.
Yes, a good idea.
It's high 20s.
Oh, who?
almost.
Me?
Not a particular.
Your wife married a courageous
It
man,
definitely
did
is
she not?
shotgun.
You dodged your would-be
If I
assailants
was
and gathered
really
vital
desperate,
information
like,
from
play
them.
this,
You
I
are
imagine that
resourceful.
something like Twilight
I
Princess
guess you're right.
will be similar.
Fine.
Except
Back to
that
Himeji
there's
Castle.
a decompiler.
Oh, and maybe I'll check on my
that
wife.
has been compiled
Oh,
to
maybe
run
not.
on this device.
Oh,
That's just
she's going to
this
kill
feels
me.
a lot smoother.
And I have
Seeing
you
up
to thank for that.
30 FPS, I'm seeing stuff drop into the 20s. I will say that this UI is not optimized for this kind of display, like this map and the button icons. I feel like they're really encroaching on the center of the screen more than they would on a traditional CRT. But this looks really good. I'm genuinely impressed by this device being able to run this at all. This is a very playable way to get to Twilight Princess, other than the control issues of not having a joystick. In this part, it's not as big of a deal as when you're start aiming. It kind of reminds me of like the PSP days when you're using face buttons to aim away. One thing of note is that there is actually gyro support in the Rotate. It's not configured to work as is, but I imagine as this device is fairly hyped, community projects already on the way, that might be something that gets updated for this, and so that could drastically improve the gaming experience in something like this. That being said, this is totally playable, which brings us to the conclusion. Sometimes when we get to the end of a video, we reveal the price, and all of a sudden, all the positive things I had to say about the device disappear. But at $88 US as the MSRP, it's really not hard to recommend this device. If you're someone that likes fidgeting with their devices and you are not put off by the screen on the outside form factor, this thing's pretty freaking sweet for older games, all the way up to 5th gen for sure, 6th gen a little bit less. I think this is a pretty solid option. It's not perfect. I think Battle.net could improve. I personally think that Clamshell is better, especially the way it treats sort of devices like this. But there's no real major complaints, and I thought that the out-of-the-box experience with this thing was pretty solid. So what do you think of the Ambernic Rotate? Is this something that you want to buy? Is there another device that you think might be better for a similar price? Or is there one that you want us to unbox some shorts with? And in the meantime, check out the Ambernic unboxing. It's a very different type of device, but it's not as different as you might think. His keycap set. Some JTG beige as a free gift. I love free gifts. That means it's for me. I get to take these home. Just kidding. We've also got a few others. Red, beige, and
Damn it all. That the smell of incense. Are they involved?
Stabilizers. You're going to need some of these as you build your board. These are good stabilizers. That's a nice
Lord Yukinaga,
I haven't
you
looked
look
up the
troubled.
guide on how to build
Yes,
this
Ken.
board, so
You remember that smell, yes? When Lord Hideo was taken.
A strong smell of incense from the Ronin. I am hoping it might lead us to the void Hideo. What is it to you?
I have encountered this particular fragrance before. Many times, in fact. Business associates of mine. They are keen on helping Lord Naoya and I with reconstruction of holy sites. They are a strange group, to be sure, and that smell is unmistakable.
That didn't peel off very well at all. I 100% ripped off the oven.
My lord, given your
And then,
involvement,
I
is there a
feeling that
possibility you are
aggressively.
also in danger?
Okay, there we go.
I do not know, but thank you for not doubting me. I want to help find the young lord as well.
Is there anything else you can tell me about these merchants?
There is one thing I know about them. These merchants are from Bizen.
The home of Lord Okita Naoya and Lord Hidei.
The Yokitaka is powerful, but not without its share of enemies. It is not unrealistic that someone from the Western Territories would target my lord's alliance with the Lord Hideyoshi. And now, these men are expecting another shipment immediately after the attack. Why?
They come here every day in large droves. I do not plan to give this shipment to them.
Let me go in your place, my lord. I have got some questions for these merchants.
Later, when I build, because I know that might actually come in handy. All the screws, I'm guessing. Or these little keys, I'm guessing for leaf springs or whatever. And then we just got all the like case screws, PCB screws. I don't know that if these were actually labeled as that instead of just like your 2.6, step 2.4, and it's wireless. Oh yeah, it's probably a battery or something. So that's the easy part. Now the hard part is putting it together, which, shouldn't actually be all that hard. 4.8 kilos, which is 10.67 pounds. That's heavy. I do like the integrated wrist rest that it's got going on. And sanding grooves, dude, that's so cool.
Heavily armed for merchants.
Branding stamp on
And
there. The bottom is super
Who are
cool,
you?
too, because it's actually like...
Where's Lord Yukinaga?
Pieces.
I am here
It's
on
like
his
dented
behalf.
here, like this
He
little
picked an amateur like you.
fingers in here and stuff.
Will this batch of
It's all
shipments
one
arrive as
solid
promised?
piece, which is a little surprising. And I love that in the front, it's really solid. all the
Lord
way.
Yukinaga has been
Two
waiting,
little bar guys in front,
as is
two
the
little
shipment
bars
you
in
were
the back.
expecting.
I knew Kanbei's hounds were onto us.
Maybe for the extra weight.
think it would be that soon.
We need to secure the rest of
Okay,
our
so literally all I
shipments
should do now
to
is take
ensure
the
our
PCB from
business
this
can
file,
continue later.
take the
Why do
references
you
and
care
stuff,
about the
those all in
shipments
different
we've
layers.
already moved?
And then you just put it together and then
Kanbei has increased the patrols around
put it
Himeki.
down.
This
Actually,
is why I am asking about the inventory.
really
Since when?
kind of
Since the
ingenious.
incident at Imeji Castle, it did not go as planned, as you are aware.
I assure you, Hontokoji is like a fortress.
Check this out.
Not even a crow can fly through its doors.
So that's all that even that is so satisfying. I love watching these guys.
Lord Yukinaga appreciates your
They
vigilance.
like move it down and out.
Be
of the way.
patient,
Why?
and you will receive what is yours.
Fine. Tell him to pick things up. Our business in Harima remains to be finished.
I gotta get this review.
On Tokoji Temple,
Okay, I got
There's
this out of the
an
way a little
inventory
bit.
there.
Let's look at
the boat might help you reach Tokoji faster.
and under switch PE layer. This is our printed circuit board case foam A, peeled off the plastic and attach the adhesive side to the back of the PCB. Okay, what kind of foam is in there? They didn't tell me to peel any of this back, and also they didn't. That shouldn't make a difference since we did. Peel on there, so I left it. Case foam A, peel off the foam and attach it to the back of the PCB. Yes. Printed circuit board, which we got. Under switch PE layer. Or actually, the cable was pretty Instead of using our Teflon or our shims, we've got these little rubber pads that came with the stabilizer pack. And I've never used these before, so I kind of want to try them today. I don't know if they're meant to go efficient in the past or not, but I'm going to use them just kind of as they are, because it seems to me like you're just having rubber instead of Teflon, and that's a lot of good idea, so let's try it. Okay, so last year's going to solve my piece. You're going to say, I love this, like, blue speckle finish on these stabilizers. Like, it sucks, and you never see it. It's the worst thing.
Glad we could set that
Now, my
straight.
favorite part is actually, yeah, it's definitely screwdrivers. And this is where the tiny screws are found, and you can lose them very easily down by a tiny, tiny screwdriver. You don't want to hear from this
You died honorably.
Okay, I'll just pop that plate on. And now the best part. Well, we install 63, 65, 67 switches, however many this takes. And I've got 3 options here. All 3 are needed, so that's great. So I'm going to get black and purple. Ooh, they do sound good. Nice. Okay, nice. I think they're just one because they also look black and purple, but are they? No, also here. Alright, so these are gotta be the same. Linear, nylon top, nylon bottom, bottom stack, 50 millimeter spring, 50 to 62 grams actuation. These are the same switches. We've got the fancy jar, so these are gonna be a little lighter, but we come in this These nice amber-looking ones aren't available at launch, so I'm going to use the nice little purple guys. These are a little heavier anyway.
This place is hostile.
So
Best to
it's
go
like a 2 gram
unnoticed.
difference or 3 grams or something, but whatever. It makes a difference when you use those. Start populating. It took quite a bit of struggling, to be honest, to get this plate. Like, I genuinely had to stretch it a little bit to get to fit over these stabilizers, to the point where I started installing them upside down, in case maybe something had gone wrong in the factory, but no, that wasn't working any better, and so I flipped them all back to the right way. I literally had to, like, struggle and stretch, weren't rolling the camera at the time, because I mean, I figured out...
Merchants mingling with Ashikaru heavily odd.
It's
All
on,
for a temple.
and I want this to stay on, so I'm going to start putting switches in. Pretty simple. You just line up these pins with the holes in the board or the little pegs on the side as well. And you just try to push them straight down. They should go in really easily. If they don't, take it out, inspect your pins, make sure they're not bent. If they are bent, take some needle nose pliers and you should just squeeze them straight again. And try again. Their plate works. And it feels like palm, so it's an okay material, but I don't know if the tolerances are just really tight or what it is, but yeah, we never had to struggle this much putting in plate. But now that it's on, yeah, switches are definitely good. Okay, now that our keyboard sandwich is built, the only thing left is to eat it. By that, I mean, it's early in our case. I'm going to do it again because it's so satisfying. Okay, so the through cable is going to plug in down here. Should be in. Oh! Alright, the only thing left is to screw it all down. I'm not going to do that until I tell you about our sponsor. If you're spending some time in a new country, you could be punished pretty hard by your wireless provider for Googling, when does the next bus come? Saley is an affordable eSIM provider that is not just going to save you money, but time as well. No more hunting down coffee shops just to connect to your email. No more waiting in line at an airport kiosk for a less than trustworthy mobile provider. Just download it. Get an exclusive 15% discount on Saley data plans. Use code SHORTCIRCUIT at checkout. Download the Saley app or go to saley.com/shortcircuit.
There's nothing sour about the savings you'll unlock during our annual Lion Day sale this year. From fully loaded backpack offers to ergonomic desk pad bundles, there is something for everyone. And for today,
A shrine that
you can
sits
treat your
outside of
friends
Himeji.
with a cozy
Marked on the
cake
map, but no mention of any shipments
Check out
going
the sale
there.
today.
I get a
Link in
strange
the
feeling
description.
from this
And
place.
customers can save even more, getting $10 off any purchase of $50 or more.
So next we've got 8 screws. I'm guessing it's these M2425 screws. We're just going to do our corners first. We're not going to screw everything down all the way. If we've got our 4 corners, then I'll take it down and then One kind of minor annoying thing is our label is T5s, which is great. I didn't realize that. Use the T5, so you're not going to be able to use the little Phillips head. So it's kind of annoying that they don't actually send you
Probably, I don't
an
know.
Allen wrench or something for this keyboard. It's all screwed in. That's so satisfying. And you can like adjust these to adjust the tension, like right there. That's and then that locks it in. Look at that. It's so cool. Now we put keycaps on it. And hope that I did it right. It turns on. Actually, we should try to test that. Giant on-off switch on the bottom strip. Yeah, okay. Working. Yeah, just took a little bit of time to warm up and boot up, but she is working away. So let me put some keycaps on here.
If I were going to hide something, it would be in some place like this.
Okay, we put all our keycaps on. I will say, typeface, hard to read sometimes. Some of the letters look uppercase, and then some lowercase. Luckily, you know, some lowercase, too hard, and I've got a laptop here to check for
Incense and the acrid smell of gunpowder. No wonder it stood out that Inukai. Lord Yukinaga's hunch was correct. His business associates are gun runners.
The spacebar feels a little too low compared to the rest of the wrist rest here, but I'm not sure how I feel about it until it's like it. So let's check it out. Everything's working. All our keys are good here. It is wireless. It's got Bluetooth 2.4 GHz dongle that I've installed here and wired it obviously as well, and it works for Mac and Windows. And the battery is 4,000 milliamp hours. Not terrible. Obviously, there's RGB in this thing. Very hard to see with the part configuration to take that. And now let's do our typing tool. Sounds satisfying. It's pretty good right out of the box. So let's run it. I would love this. 8593 is not terrible, but it's definitely not my best. Yeah, there is. I'm not crazy about this dip here. As much as the glass is beautiful, and I love seeing everything in here, I would love, instead of having like a free floating thumb, I'd like it if it was split. I don't know, maybe I'll type on it more and get used to it. 112.97. It's still not my best, but you know, it's not bad. It's not the worst. It's not the best. There's something missing. And I wonder if it's like...
These were all shipped from Gizen. Signed by Lord Yukinaga. Interesting. Why does Himeji Castle need temple supplies? I need to talk to Lord Yukinaga.
I might go so far as to remove one of the layers of gold. Maybe the most bottom case gold, maybe that would make it just a little too white. But I guess that's what a lot of people do. Otherwise, like, visually striking, and easily, in terms of pure visuals, like probably the coolest tool I've ever built or looked at. I will say, now that it's assembled, how easy is it to make? Yeah, I don't know how you're supposed to get this thing up once the keyboard's in there. So, okay, you can open and close it without the keycaps coming off, but like, that was not easy, and I don't know, it's cool. I think that if you want this because of what it is, that is perfectly fine, and I would not question that for a second. I don't know how much it costs. They're going to tell me off camera, and we're probably going to be a little shocked, because I'm guessing the whole thing is pretty expensive considering like the mechanisms and how much thought is going into all of this. It is absolutely stunning, and I don't think there's a lot of prices that I can buy it at. The Kickstarter is getting done before this video goes up, but it might be available on the website afterwards. How much is it? $1,000! If you want, that's American dollars. I think I was expecting like $500, maybe even like $600 or $700, but $1,000. I'm not saying that the artistry and craftsmanship isn't there. It really is. This is incredible. And even having to take off a couple keycaps now to like help this out, that sucks, but it's still very cool. I can completely understand why a lot of people are sleeping on this. I think it's very bespoke. I think that you can't find this anywhere else. And considering the labor and into just the design, let alone constructing this thing, it's practically a fair price. I hate to say that because it's exorbitant. You will die here. That price is incredibly unique and kind. Yeah. This guy. Short circuit. This is the nuclear floodgate. Key 2. Beautiful piece of design. Can't recommend it unless you're just like really looking for that ultimate destiny where you have a ton of extended income. If you want to look at another video we just did, check out SF60 from Luce. That's also very nice keyboard. Definitely not $1,000.
Now look at
We're gonna play a little guessing game. Can you guys guess what's in this box? Well, if you read the title, you spoiled it. This is not an Intel Arc GPU. This is the new MSI Claw. And in here, that went flying a lot further than I expected it to. Look at that packaging. This thing is cute. Is it purple? That's cool. Actually, I kind of expected it to be a boring color. My god, this thing is huge. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I got way too excited. I didn't expect to see it right away when I opened. But MSI is one of the companies that's been making handheld devices like a lot of others, whether it's the Steam Deck or Acer has one, or how many other people have one at this point? There's a lot of them. Most of them, though, are using some sort of AMD chip. But MSI is one of the guys that has, at this point, more than doubled down on sticking with Intel as their processor. They had one that had AMD, but we're going to ignore that one because I'm very interested to see how it performs with the Intel chips. Specifically, the Intel Arc G3, and that hence, the box there that says G. As for what's in the rest of the box here, oh my gosh, we got a whole Thunderbolt Go dock. I don't know if this will be included in your MSI Claw, but for us, it was sent, as well as... It's just earbuds. These are just Samsung earbuds. Okay, well, I don't need to talk about that much, because, again, I'm here for MSI. Is there anything else
Lord
in the box, though,
Yukinaga,
before I go into
I
that?
located
There's all
shipments
power
of incense,
for everything your heart
heavily
could
guarded
desire.
incense at that,
One of the
and
things I said when
signed
I
off
first noticed
by
it was
you.
how big it is, but I am shocked by how
Ringing
light it
bells?
is. The dock,
For
I
example,
feel like
those
is
drone
heavy.
that attacked the
So we're going to do a
Inca
little test here. Our dock
You've been
is
shipping weapons, my
933
lord,
grams.
disguised as incense.
Oh,
Did
it
you
is
notice?
790 grams. This is where the weight is, baby.
Yes,
Honestly,
of course. But
I'm
weapons?
holding it, and it's quite a
Of course
comfortable
not.
weight. I don't feel like I'm like
A potential
having to drop my
conspiracy
arms. I mean,
has
obviously,
followed
these
Lord
were staying in your
Dahlia
hands. I
all
feel
the
like
way
it's
to
all
Arima,
easy.
it seems,
It's
using
sort of
temples as cover for their
feels so
schemes.
ergo. Perfect
And
with the parts.
shrines.
Ready to
There
game
was
on it. I
reference
should
to a
talk about the actual
particular
specs
shrine of
that's in here before
interest.
we game on
But
it.
what are they moving
The chip in
there?
here, like I
Nothing
mentioned,
that I
that
can
Intel
tell,
Arc G3
but I intend to find out.
is actually based off of Panther
These
Lake,
places
and it
of
features
worship
2
are
P
only
cores,
temporary
8 E
stockpiles.
cores, and then
Part of
4
the weapons they were
low-power
moving have
E
already
cores.
gone to
Whereas the
Castle.
last MSI
Lord
Claw
Dahlia
had 4
tried to help
P cores
Harima.
and 4
His
low-power
son's
E
new
cores.
home.
Say that 10
And
times
these
fast. That is
monsters
about...
have
One of the other big
desecrated
differences,
his
though,
work.
is even
They
though
would
this thing
stoop to
features
any
2
level,
P cores,
use a noble
it can actually
cause
be
to
configured
get
in a
what they
way where
want.
you could only run
Monsters
off
indeed.
E cores. They seem
It
to be
will be
making a
best
much
if you
bigger
stay hidden
deal
until we
about
send.
the standard E cores in here, whether that's to help with battery longevity, whether that's just to handle general scheduling tasks, making sure that they have lots of places to go. Again, 8 E cores instead, and then you still have the 2 P cores for when you really need the performance. And being Panther Lake, as we guys know, it's very low power, so this thing can go all the way down to 8 watts and up to about 35 watts